some cards. I'm old enough to remember when the US was going to go to the metric system. In 1975, true fact, the Congress made it a law that we were going to go on the metric system. So see, even when the people in Washington agree and do something, we ignore them. But you know what? It didn't work. Are we driving around with speed signs in kilometers? Nope, still miles. But it did work on the two things Americans feel are important: medication and soda. Everything else is measured in ounces and inches and yards. Our drugs are in grams and kilos, and our sodas in 2-liter bottles. Win for us. Like I said, I'm the oldest comic here tonight, I bet. But I'm the youngest in my family. My parents grew up in the Great Depression. This means they saved everything. Well, not quite quarter level, but, you know, close. But they were also the original recyclers, because there was no way to get things, you know, when you ran out of things, you ran out of things. My mom used to save twist ties, bread wrappers, butter tubs, and even would wash and reuse aluminum foil. But you know, we never ran out of anything either, because someday you might need it and she'd have it. We just recently had to clean out her apartment because she's moving, and we found 4 vacuum cleaners in a 2-bedroom, single-level apartment, but they all worked. And you know, I'm a lot like my mother. I have a bit of a hoarding problem too. But you know, mine's controllable. I have a pantry, I have refrigerators and freezers, yes, that's plural, that are all always full. And I have a library that's over 3,000 real books. That's a lot of books. But this means I'm a bibliophile. Yeah, I love books. But the bad part is, I was also a history major. And that will warp your brain. Because I'm a history major, I save all sorts of stuff that most people would get rid of. I have emails on my server from people who have been dead a decade. And you know why? Because someday somebody in the history field doing archaeology work 100 years from now will find them to use, because they want to know what life was like for real people 100 years before, i.e. now. And, you know, like I said, this makes my brain crazy. But, you know, I had to read the Paxton letters and when I was in college to find out what medieval life was like in medieval England, what everyday life was like. But tech helps me hide my hoarding. I have this great computer. On it, I have newsletters on all sorts of topics. One of them is about health and fitness. Well, when you're my size, the best advice is eat less, move more. I have over 1,000 emails telling me, eat less, move more, but they're all on my hard drive, so nobody knows. And I have a big selection of food newsletters. I also, because I like to cook, and I love to eat, obviously. But you know what? I have 2 6-foot shelves full of cookbooks, a binder full of recipes I actually printed out from the internet. And you know where I go when I want to get a new recipe? Google. Even with all that on hand. Amazon.com, I recently found out Kindle users get free, unlimited storage for ebooks. This is great news for a bibliophile. Not only do I have the 3,000 volumes my husband and I built up over the last, 3 decades, I now have 10,000 books in the cloud. I may never read them all, but maybe my descendants will. Oh, there's that history mess up again. I've lived a long time. I've amassed a lot of stuff. I have a nice house to keep all this stuff. It's why I don't understand camping in tents. And someone explained to me why you would want to pack up the stuff that makes life easy. Go out in the woods where there are bugs, no bathrooms. It's going to be too hot, too cold, too humid, or too wet to spend the night or two. Come back, have to unpack, clean, and store it all. that's too much work for a little bit of fun. In fact, my mom used to be famous for telling us her idea of roughing it, because she didn't understand camping either, was a 3-star motel. For me, that's ridiculous. If I got to pack to go to a hotel, I'd rather just stay home. It's where my stuff is. Now, the reason I'm here tonight is because every few years I get in a rut. And I feel like I got to break out of that rut. And I do it by doing something that scares me. One year, I was scared of losing my job. So I started my own company. It's doing okay. 10 years later, it's doing better than okay. I used to be terrified of a blank page. So I started writing a restaurant review column for the local paper. Nothing will fill a blank page faster than a deadline. And tonight, I'm here because I've been coming for a while and giving positive criticism to a lot of y'all, and that's the easy part. The hard part's coming up here and trying to make you guys laugh at my life. Thanks very much for laughing. Good night.